all of Twitter reacting to Calvin Johnson retiring, and I just want to give you my thoughts here. And again, I thank you for watching, liking, subscribing to my channel. Hope all is well. Maybe, just maybe, it could be that Calvin Johnson just wanted to get out while his body is still relatively in good condition. I mean, he has made over, what, $115 million in his career. Guy's very intelligent, you can't deny that. I think he created like some type of septic tank water system thing that would work in some of the poor nations in Africa. So the guy's very intelligent. I think he has enough money, made enough money to do to do for him and his family to be well off. But then again, another part of me is thinking to myself, well, maybe it's because of Stafford is the reason that Calvin is retiring. No division title, no playoff win. The organization surrounded him with offensive weapons and defensive weapons. 2014, you make the playoffs. 2015, Stafford struggles with an offense. He ran better in 2014. They fire Lombardi and bring in Jim Bob. Jim Bob Cooter simplifies the verbiage in place for Stafford. The 2015 was over. The 2015 season was over before it even began. Added with the Dallas playoff loss, that's a lot for a player to want to come back to. You blame the offensive line for Stafford's lack of quarterback knowledge. It's pretty pitiful. The Vikings, Bridgewater there, Cutler, Rodgers won a division title. The offense is only as good as its leader. I just really think what it came down to is he became tired of the losing culture, just like Barry Sanders did, and I think they retired at the same age in their prime. I think there's no salvaging this despondent franchise until the Fords relinquish ownership. I know they've owned that franchise since, what, 1960s? And in that time, the Lions have not even appeared in a Super Bowl and have won, I think, just one playoff game. The closest thing to a Super Bowl for that franchise was its 41-10 loss to the Redskins in the 91 NFC Championship game. I think it's sad because Johnson deserved much better, though. Good thing he didn't come to my Dolphins, because he would have retired 3 years before. I think until the team has new ownership, it will never become anything more than just mediocre. Ultimately, I think what it comes down to is this is a case of Barry Sanders. And what that means, it's the act of mentally, it's a verb, the act of mentally or emotionally beating down a talented professional athlete through poor, hideous play calling and lack of playoff appearances, until they're nothing more than a hollowed out shell of the person that they used to be, often resulting in an early retirement from the sport of football. Example, wow, the Detroit Lions really Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. I think really that's what it comes down to. Even with Calvin Johnson losing, you guys still have some offense. With Calvin Johnson retiring, rather, and losing throughout his whole career, you still have some offensive weapons there, even with Johnson retiring. You have Golden Tate, one of the best run after the catch receivers in the game, and Theo Riddick. Right now, I think is the best receiving back in the league, if you look at it. Ebron, I think, will be in his third year. He'll be improved over last year. So maybe things are looking up on the horizon if you're a Detroit Lion fan. But when you lose one of your best players, it's a tough pill to swallow. None of these guys are like Calvin Johnson. You're going to have to look up to pick up a receiver in free agency. Draft a wide receiver. Are you looking forward to 2016 now with Calvin Johnson apparently retiring? I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that he's starting to break down injuries. That's what he said. But a part of me just doesn't believe that. I think it's just for the fact of being with the Detroit Lions. He signed a mega contract. Who's going to take on that contract? To me, I think, although Calvin Johnson says that he's retired, I think that come training camp and the practices during the summer, I think he's going to have a change of heart. Take him out of Detroit. I'm sure that's what he's thinking in his mind. He wouldn't say it publicly because he's a humble guy, but I think there's a little bit more than meets the eye to this. So I hope all is well. Look forward to speaking very, very soon.